Go.
The charred ruins of Thornton Hall serve only as a constant reminder of the conflicts that raged behind its walls. It holds a secret no longer. It lies bare for all to see. Let me tell you its story. My story, really. The Portrait of Monica by Sandra Bouquet. Years ago, I came to Thornton Hall as a happy bride, but I left it as the widow of Dennis Thornton. When I married Dennis, all I knew is that I loved him with all my heart. Whether or not Dennis returned my love, I didn't know. And now I shall never know. I shall never know whether he died for me or for Monica. I met Dennis at 18, and from the first moment of introduction, I loved him. That's how it began. Those were heavenly days. But it soon came to an end, for Monica stepped into the picture. Dennis was infatuated with her, and I saw less and less of him. Shortly after the announcement of her engagement to Dennis Thornton, Monica broke it off, and 3 weeks later married a Philip Sutton. All Dennis had left were his memories, a portrait of Monica, and my undying love. I thought that his marriage to me, months later, was to spite Monica. I knew that, but I didn't care. I was Mrs. Dennis Thornton, and I was happy. I knew, too, that Dennis was still in love with Monica, but I thought time would erase her from his memory. In her time, she was forgotten in the whirlwind existence that we led. But then, I lost the use of my legs in a riding accident. What chance had I now of keeping Dennis's love? At first, it didn't seem to matter. Dennis was so thoughtful, kind, and considerate. Perhaps he had forgotten Monica and was entirely mine now. But when he began to work late at the office and take weekend trips supposedly on business, I began to doubt. He evaded my questions. Dennis was drifting away from me. There was nothing I could do. I soon discovered, though, what was occupying my husband's time. Monica had returned to London, her marriage ending in divorce. I said nothing to Dennis. What could I have said? I just hoped and prayed. It was at his suggestion that we moved from London to Thornton Hall. It was a beautiful estate. It gave me new hope, a chance for a fresh start. Dennis carried me up the staircase to my bedroom on the second floor. When he was gone, I looked about the room which was to be my home. It was beautifully furnished. Everything was just right. The perfect touch. I wondered who had helped Dennis. And then I saw it, staring down at me from above the fireplace across the room. The portrait of Monica. Smiling, smiling. Or was she smirking? Then I understood. Had she married Dennis, this would have been her room. That perfect touch was hers. Dennis's room adjoined mine. Why hadn't he hung the portrait in that room? Was it to torment me? Could he be that cruel? My Dennis, cruel? Impossible. Why, he tried to ease my discomfort in 1,000 ways. Each night, before he retired, he would come to my room for a chat. He'd sit before the fireplace, smoking a cigarette. The portrait smiled down, and he gazed upon it with such a faraway look. I felt my intrusion. But then he'd come to me and sit on the edge of my bed. We'd talk, then we'd embrace and kiss goodnight. The portrait smiled down at us. She was always there. The few precious moments that I had with my husband were always shared by the other woman. The woman in the portrait, Monica. I said nothing to Dennis for fear of provoking him. I was a prisoner, and Monica was my keeper. The constant feeling of her presence had its effect on me as the weeks passed. Then came the day I could stand it no longer. I screamed, "Stop staring! Stop smiling down on me as if you pitied me! Stop it, Monica, for the love of God, leave me in peace! I've lost him. Dennis is yours. I was standing. I had walked. Whether it was a miracle or not, I didn't know, and I didn't care. I could walk. Dennis! Dennis! I can... No, I mustn't let Dennis know. He might leave me knowing that I'm well again. But if I'm still crippled and dependent on him, he'll stay. He'll stay if only out of pity. As the days slipped by, I could feel the tension of our relationship. When he kissed me, I couldn't help but wonder if it were Monica he wished he were kissing instead of me. This pretense of mine wasn't going to work. One night, while alone in the house, I rose from my bed and walked over to the portrait. You've won, Monica, but I'll have the last laugh yet. I'll destroy your portrait and this house. This house with its perfect touch. Your touch. I set fire to the bedclothes and the draperies and left the house. I slowly walked to a hill from where I could see the house quite clearly. The flames had spread. The house was ablaze. And then I saw a car. Dennis's car coming up the driveway. I saw him jump from the car and start for the house. I called out. He didn't hear me. He ran into the house and up the stairway to my room. The flames had spread. They had done their work well. The second floor collapsed, carrying Dennis to his death. Oh, Dennis, my sick heart wonders and wonders. Did you lose your life to save your crippled wife, or the portrait of Monica?
The wind is blowing loudly. Leaves are swirling. It appears to be a tornado twisting madly. Words cannot describe the heartache and disaster such a storm can leave behind. There is a terrible path of destruction. After hours of rain and destruction, the storm finally passes. And in the distance, a glorious rainbow paints the sky with its vibrant colors, bringing with it peace of mind. This storm is in all actuality similar to the way over 10,000 Americans who suffer a storm of their own, which they must try and weather. Each time they go to read a simple sentence on a piece of paper, the words begin to jump and swirl all around. The individuals cannot control this, and they believe that there is no hope. But this is no longer true. There is hope for these people. There is a rainbow at the end of the word storm. A rainbow more beautiful than can possibly be imagined. A rainbow which can change the lives of people who suffer from scotopic sensitivity syndrome. Today, I will inform you about scotopic sensitivity syndrome, or SSS. I will first explain and describe what the syndrome is. Next, I will tell you what some of the symptoms of the syndrome are. And finally, I will explain the only known amazing aid for the sufferers of scotopic sensitivity syndrome. Scotopic sensitivity syndrome is a type of visual dyslexia. Victims have difficulty with reading and writing activities. SSS is caused by the difficulty with filtering light source, glare, luminance, wavelength, and black-white contrast. As much as 15% of the people classified as learning disabled and or dyslexic have scotopic sensitivity to some degree. It has also been found that children with other disabilities, such as language problems, hearing problems, hyperactivity, or allergies, may also suffer some symptoms associated with SSS. According to Lynn Sutterman, Erlin's Lawrence, Kansas associate, as much as 15% of the population has this condition. It tends to be hereditary. There are several symptoms or actions which may indicate the presence of SSS. When reading, an individual might blink, rub their eyes, squint, open them wide, or complain of fuzzy or blurred vision. These symptoms most often occur when the individual is reading under fluorescent lights. Other symptoms or actions include preferring to read in dim light, clumsiness, trouble with the columns and lines on a page, and burning or itching eyes. Some individuals with SSS have difficulty climbing stairs and tend to bump into things. The strangest symptom of scotopic sensitivity syndrome, and the most bothersome for the sufferers, is trying to make the letters and words on a page remain still. This may sound strange, but for them it is a terrifying truth. These people must try and survive a storm of words that jump and flicker and blur and swirl all around. This is in no ways normal and causes great pain and embarrassment for the sufferers. Fortunately, there is a rainbow at the end of the scotopic sensitivity storm. Helen Erlin, a California psychologist and founder of the Erlin Institute for Perceptual and Learning Disabilities, made an amazing discovery accidentally 9 years ago. A child she was working with commented that he could read a page clearly through a color transparency which was laying on her desk. The words remained still. This accident prompted Helen Erlin into researching with colored lenses and color transparencies. Through her research, Helen Erlin has patented over 155 different combinations of colored lenses, and she now has clinics all over the world. The testing process involves a detailed screening process, which takes approximately 2 hours. If it is determined that the individual does have the syndrome, then an in-depth study period follows in which the individual is exposed to different types of color transparencies and asked to rate the perceptual changes. The testing process costs $100. There is a $300 charge for the in-depth study, and other fees for lab work and filters may follow. The expense may be discouraging, but according to Linda Palmquist, a 46-year-old scotopic sufferer who has lived with years of anger and frustration, said that it doesn't seem so much in view of the benefits. I am just amazed at how much it changed my life. I am seeing the world in a whole different light. For instance, I never knew that the entire printed page was clear when someone looked at it. Children are usually not tested until they are 7 years old and are able to explain and describe in words what actually happens when they look at a piece of paper. They must also be able to count to 30. There have been dramatic results. One research group with 42 scotopic children wearing the Erlin lenses gained 2 years in reading comprehension in only 2 months, along with reported increase in attitude towards schoolwork, concentration, and confidence. There has also been a dramatic decrease in the number of headaches, eye strain, and other symptoms after wearing the Erlin lenses. Although researchers are not for certain why the lenses do work, they have proven to be very beneficial. There is much research that must be done, and that is being done, into the causes and effects of scotopic sensitivity syndrome. The Erlin lenses are not a cure for learning disabilities. Instead, they are another tool for compensating. Imagine a rainbow of 155 different colors. Wow, what a sight that would be. And what a sight it is for the thousands who suffer scotopic sensitivity syndrome, not only physically, but emotionally. After being classified as lazy and stupid and feeling outcast and worthless, finding their appropriate color in the rainbow could possibly help them to make their dreams come true and find the gold at the end of the rainbow. How old are you? What kind of car do you drive? What political party do you belong to? How much money did you make last month, last year? You may feel that these are personal questions, and you would rather that not just anyone knew the answers, but you. Well, you're in for a big surprise, because more than likely this information is known, and by making a simple phone call, I or anyone could receive for a set fee a list containing this information about you and many other Americans. Our privacy is for sale. The revolution of the computer has made it possible for databases to accumulate all types of information about our private lives. These lists are then sold for a profit. The result? An almost uncontrollable